Hey there guys, Portal Master 9351 here, and in this video, I want to talk about the future of villains in Skylanders 6 and beyond, much like the repose video that I made last night, uploaded this morning, however. But anyways, so as I said in the last video that I made, the future of reposes in Skylanders 6 and beyond, if you haven't seen that video, go watch that, because if you watch that, you might be able to understand what I'm saying in this video a little bit better. So in that last video, we talked about how we could potentially be seeing characters that were not gimmick characters to begin with, or our gimmick characters become a new set of gimmick characters. For instance, we could see the Superchargers becoming whatever the gimmick is in Skylanders 6, whatever that may be. Anyways, so, similarly, very similarly to that, I figured I would talk about villains as well. So there have been big rumors that the next game would feature villains coming back as in figure form. Huge rumor going around about that. Or that, since it's Toys for Bob, we could see trap functionality again. And I don't think that we'll be seeing trap functionality. I think that's the simple truth. I hate it. Don't get me wrong. I have so many things wrong with that. And if that ends up being the truth, and there's absolutely nothing that the traps will do, there will be rant videos for days. For days, I tell you. Anyways, as I was saying though, villains do have a good chance of coming back in figure form. At least in my opinion, after making last night's video. So, in Trap Team, of course, the gimmick figures, of course, were Trap Masters, but the actual real gimmick, you could say, were the traps. So we're mostly just going to focus on the traps in this video. Or the traps and the villains, specifically, I guess. So, as I was saying in the last video, characters that were not gimmick characters, or that were gimmick characters, could potentially become a new gimmick character in the new game. And so, I don't think it's that far-fetched to take a gimmick character, which would be like, for instance, Chompy Mage, and turn him into a new figure, you know, a Skylander, because they've said now, these guys are good, and Chaos is good now, too. Or at least he is sort of good. He's good to an extent in the actual video games, without the use of Traptanium. So I think that all the villains could potentially have a change of heart if there was a big enough threat to them. And they could potentially become the new gimmick character, whatever that may be. I don't think it's that far-fetched. I highly doubt they would use traps, just because they have never been known to reuse a gimmick before. I'm not saying that they would reuse a gimmick that they did in the past, in that they would repose like a giant, and in the new game, he wouldn't. I don't think that the new versions would have their giant abilities. They would have whatever the new gimmick is. I don't think they would ever reuse a gimmick. But I think that they could reuse gimmick characters. And I think that also applies to the villains. So, like I said, traps would probably... Where did that land? I need to make sure I didn't lose that. The traps would probably go bye-bye. Like I just demonstrated right there. But I think that villains do have a good chance of returning, because there are a lot of people that I know that really did enjoy the personality of the villains. Broccoli Guy. Dude, I love Broccoli Guy. I love me some freaking Broccoli Guy. Give me, I don't know, like, Cauliflower Broccoli Guy. I will buy Cauliflower Broccoli Guy. It's so, I love that guy. He's so cool. And everyone said they were going to hate him. But anyways, back to the point, I would so buy a villain figure. A lot of the villains are really cool, and I think that it would be a really good way to just kind of forget that Trap Team ever happened, really, and we could just kind of do away with traps in their entirety and just focus on villains. I think that something in the future that's going to happen is that there's going to be less... I mean, there will still be one-and-done aspects of the game. Like, Giants, you know, since Trap Team... In Swap Force and Trap Team, they had minimal value, but nothing compared to what they had in Giants. Swappers can still swap, but they don't have specific zones. Trap Masters are still themselves. They just don't do extra damage to villains and Superchargers. And in the new game, I'm really hoping that vehicles will have some ability, and I think that they will, and that there may be some side areas that might have some vehicle-compatible stuff. But honestly, I'm not sure. Vehicles coming back again, I don't see that as too far-fetched. I see that being more likely than the traps returning in the new game. But anyways, back to the concept of the villains. You know, I think that there's a lot of villains that would actually convert very well into Skylander-type figures. You know, just going off of some of the ones that we've got up there. I mean, I think that Pain-Yada would be pretty awesome. Grenade. Let's see, maybe like Chomp Chest. Maybe not Chomp Chest. I think it'd be pretty cool, though. Golden Queen would probably be the Earth villain, however. You know, honestly, in all honesty, it might just be the Doom Raiders that we could see returning. That would be a perfectly logical thing to do, but at the same time, oh man, give me Broccoli Guy! Give me Broccoli Guy! I don't know. There were a lot of characters. Honestly, Taekwon Crow had more plot based around Taekwon Crow than what's-his-face? Nightshade. That's his name, right? Yes, that's his name. Whereas, like, Crankcase had more influence overall than all of the other tech villains put together. So, I mean, I think it would just kind of have to do with the overall, not only response to the characters as a whole, but also their influence on the plot of Trap Team. I think would also be a deciding factor on do we bring these guys back or not. If villains were to return, I would expect probably 1 or 2 per element. Probably 2 per element. I'm expecting a slightly larger roster this time around, just because it seems as if that's something that Toys for Bob likes to do. They had 3 reposes in Giants, which was quite a lot, plus a new set of characters, plus a set of Light Cores, plus a set of Giants. That was a lot. Swap Force was kind of the same, at least numbers-wise. There were 2 gimmicks, 2 cores. Actually, sorry, it was 7 characters per element. Trap Team, of course, had the 2 Trap Masters, the 2 new cores, some elements had reposes, and then, of course, the minis were, you know, brought back, 1 new one per element. But anyways, there's a rather large roster, in addition to having all the traps that you could buy, so, you know, there was a lot of plastic to be bought. So I think that Toys for Bob is probably going to stick to a more plastic-oriented approach, and he's probably going to have a lot of figures to purchase, but as long as they're good, high-quality figures that look good, feel good, and are worth it, then I'm perfectly fine with that, as long as they look good. That's my main concern, at least as far as figures are concerned. Make as many as you want, as long as they look good, and as long as they're original and creative. Don't sell me a half-baked Gilgrunt that's only got a couple of minor differences. I would not buy that chopper that's floating around on the internet. If that was the real Series 2 chopper, I would not buy it. There's not enough differences. And also, if they don't reinvent the characters, I really don't think I would want to buy them again. But anyways, we're straying off into a whole nother topic. But I do think that it is worth mentioning that I think that if the villains did actually receive real figures, we would see a lot more in-depth progression system. We would probably actually see real upgrade systems for the villains rather than just have you done their mission or not. I think that their alternate skin would probably be their heroic, when you buy all the upgrades, more or less, they kind of get that, or it's an upgrade in there, or it's a soul gem or whatever. I think that could potentially be how you unlock their alternate variation. I'm not really sure, though. I mean, we're still just totally speculating on the fact that will villains even get figures anyways, but I think that they would be treated as normal Skylanders, at least in terms of upgrades. So we could see totally reinvented characters, or, you know, we could just see more fleshed out villains, you know, rather than just, here's your 2 or 3 attacks, depending on if you're a Doom Raider or not, and actually see, you know, real upgrade progression and combos and, you know, interesting stuff. I am all for villains coming back, as long as they're good and original, but, anyways, yeah. So, before I end this video, I do want to end it on the note of, there's a big rumor going around that we're going to get news tomorrow. And as unfortunate as it's going to sound, if there is news tomorrow, I won't be able to make videos on it, because I'm not going to be home tomorrow until midnight. I basically will not be home from 7:30 to midnight. And I mean 7:30 a.m. to midnight. I'm so busy tomorrow. If there's news, I'll try to maybe promote it on my Twitter and my Instagram, or I will promote it on my Twitter and Instagram. That will be feasible, but I won't be home to actually make videos tomorrow until midnight. And so, if there is news, that'll probably have to come Saturday morning. I'm really not positive at this point. But yeah, I'm hoping that they just tease the game tomorrow. They say we're going to reveal it on this date. That's really what I'm hoping, or we get maybe a little something small. But anyways, we're getting off on a tangent now. So yeah. Check out my social media in the description. I've got a Twitter and Instagram that you can follow me on, and you can get alerts when I upload new videos, and you can see other stuff that I post online. Remember to like, comment, subscribe. This has been Portal Master 9351, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye!